Josh Taylor has officially become undisputed champion by defeating Jose Ramirez by way of unanimous decision this past Saturday night to not only capture all the belts and all the bragging rights, but also avenge every UK fighter who has fallen victim to Mexican fighters in the past. Both fighters traded heavy leather in the middle of the ring throughout the first half of the fight, with Jose Ramirez finding more success pummeling Josh Taylor against the ropes, trying to execute a similar plan as he successfully did with Maurice Hooker back in their unification fight. However, Josh Taylor, even though he was constantly clinching whenever Jose Ramirez landed really good punches, he actually had the best success countering Jose Ramirez and pummeling him back when they were in the middle of the ring, and having more success moving around the ring, having Jose Ramirez chase after him, trying to make the fight his. The tables turned in the sixth round when Josh Taylor landed a tremendous right punch that sent Ramirez to the canvas. As you can see, he was lunging in forward, which caused him to fall even harder and, caused the impact of the punch to be that much greater because he was launching forward, as you can see. And it was a tremendous punch that Josh Taylor was able to capture and send Ramirez to the canvas, right? And that was the first knockdown in the sixth round. Though clearly stunned, Ramirez got up and kept fighting. None of the clinching, no holding, no trying to run around the ring. He went right back to trading with Taylor and, landing some really great punches of his own and even doing really great in the round. You would think he's back until the next round when Josh Taylor once again catches him, but this time with a tremendous uppercut that sends Ramirez to the canvas, looking even more hurt, landing very stiffly. And honestly, I didn't think he would get up from it. But let's look at that punch, that uppercut that sent him to the canvas a second time around, okay? As you see with this uppercut, the way Ramirez fell right back and the way he was struggling to get up, I really felt like he was not going to be that Kenny Bayless was not going to let him continue this fight because he was clearly stunned. His legs were all wobbly, but as we can see in the video, he goes right back to the exchanges. He doesn't clinch. He doesn't try to run around the ring. He goes right back to trading, and this is what I mean when I say Mexicans are built different. Even though I thought Taylor was gonna stop him right there, he basically got a break from the bell, and the fight was able to continue all the 12 rounds with Ramirez actually in the judges scorecards picking up and winning most of the rounds after that, which is why the scorecards were so close. I'm gonna go ahead and share the CompuBox numbers that were given out by Dan Canabio, who great job on CompuBox, and who had tweeted earlier in Fight Week that Ramirez actually led in having the most success with landing punches and throwing punches in the division. But here comes Josh Taylor being the better man that night and outlanding Jose Ramirez in every way, and it clearly showed, right? Post-fight, Josh Taylor said, "I'm ecstatic. I've trained my whole life for this. I've dedicated my whole life for this moment. I dreamt of it so many times over, man. I'm so happy. I'm over the moon. I've trained for this moment all of my life." He did, however, complain about the scorecards, claiming they were a little too tight. He said, "I thought the scorecards were a little tight. I thought they were well wider than that. I wasn't happy with the selection of the judges, but I wasn't going to moan. I was confident in winning the fight this anyway." And I will give my thoughts on that at the end, but those were the scorecards 114-112, which basically meant that it was a really close fight up until that the knockdowns were the deciding factor. At 114-112, that tells you that had it not been for the knockdowns, it would have been a draw. So that's what that's what he's complaining about. Now, Ramirez was actually a little bit more obviously disappointed post-fight, but he said he took advantage of some clinches, but hey, I got back up and tried to give it my best and stay smart. I was never hurt. I was aware. I was just disappointed every time it happened. I tried to shake it off and get back to my rhythm, but it was overall a good fight. Hopefully I get back and learn from my mistakes. You win some and you lose some. I have to disagree with him. I do feel like he was hurt, especially the second time around, how he managed to get up and survive. Again, Mexicans are built different. Now in the co-main event, Jose Chon Cepeda was able to capture a victory against Hank Lundy, but his performance was nothing compared to the Fight of the Year contender last year against Ivan Varanchik. A lot of people are saying that maybe Varanchik took a lot out of him, even though he did win in tremendous knockout of the year contender, Fight of the Year. Maybe this fight took a lot out of him. So, even though Chon Cepeda did win this fight, he didn't necessarily look that good, right? He didn't look as busy as he usually does or as confident as he usually does as well, right? And as we know, we kind of figured that this would happen because in the in the freaking weigh-ins, he was looking like a Tim Burton character. His eye sockets were sunken and he looked severely dehydrated. He wasn't really making eye contact with Lundy at all, and I was kind of trying to avoid him and get out of the room as soon as possible. We know that he didn't make weight the first time around. He was over by 2.2 pounds or something like that, right? Which is not a lot. Could have probably just gone taking a dump. But it's, he didn't look good then, and he definitely didn't provide the performance that most people were expecting from him after giving Jose Ramirez such a tremendous performance himself when he challenged for his title, and after having Fight of the Year last year against Ivan Varanchik. This fight he was supposed to win this fight in such a tremendous fashion that it would lead him to have a shot at the winner, right, of this fight in the main event. Nonetheless, he captured the victory, and we'll see how he does in the upcoming fights, right? Now, moving on to the card opener, we had Sims Jr. actually pull off an upset against Elvis Rodriguez, who is trained by Freddie Roach, but had not looked as spectacular in his last fight either. They were counting on him to basically make this a great performance and get the people going for the main event, right? Rile them up. But actually, Sims dominated in the second half of the fight and made Elvis Rodriguez look kind of silly sometimes. It was a majority decision victory, 76-76 in one of the scorecards and 78-74 on the other two. But most people felt like Sims Jr. basically made Elvis look unprepared, and he claimed he had a baby on the way in the post-fight presser, so good for him. Now he's a contender. Now he proved that he can hang in there with the best, and all Rodriguez can do is just go back to the gym with Freddie Roach and work on what he's lacking. And we will see as he develops, and I'm pretty sure we'll see them both back in the top rank cards coming up later in the year. Now, going back to the main event, of course, we had a tremendous fucking fight. A great fight between two undefeated warriors who did what every boxer should do: become champion, unify, and then immediately challenge undisputedness, right? So it was an amazing fight, but as always, boxing ain't all, pink flowers and roses. There's always controversy, and with this fight, it was no different. The controversy from Saturday night was basically all surrounded Kenny Bayless, who a lot of people felt was responsible for the second knockdown that Jose Ramirez suffered. So this is a clip by Ego's Biggest, I think their name is on Twitter, and they are actually highlighting every movement by Kenny Bayless. And as you see him there, he puts his hand right on his hand on the fighter's hand, which makes Jose Ramirez immediately relax, right? Thinking that he's going to separate them or that he's calling for a break. And Josh Taylor takes it as an opportunity to, land the uppercut, to execute the uppercut. So take a look. You can see clearly he's touching him. And this is what fighters are mad about, that he clearly touches Ramirez's arm. And Ramirez immediately feels like, okay, well, he's calling for a break, relaxes, and he gets hit with that uppercut. A lot of people are upset, calling Kenny Bayless a liability, saying that this was all on him. And even though I do agree with this to a certain extent, because yes, he could have been better at separating them when he was trying to separate them. I feel like that the outcome wouldn't have changed. I don't want to take anything away from Josh Taylor, who was just a better man that night. So I don't want to take anything away from him. But I do feel like Kenny Bayless could have done much better that night than, and putting the fighters at risk. Now, other people in the other side of Josh, with Josh Taylor, are actually mad at Kenny Bayless for giving Ramirez according to them, a long time to recover. So let's see. He falls down, and they said that he gives him more than 10 seconds, that he doesn't start counting till right there and then, and that he gives Ramirez a lot of time to recover. So whether you feel like Kenny Bayless was ass Saturday night, because he wasn't being as assertive with separating them, was not warning Josh Taylor as much about the clinching, or was not separating them properly and on time. Other people on the other side are also mad at him, but because they feel like he gave Ramirez too much time to recover and on top of the 10 seconds, the count, right? So regardless of what side you're on, everybody's mad at Kenny Bayless, and that is the controversy that came with this fight. Though, like I mentioned, I feel like regardless of the regardless of the knockdowns, yes, it was a close fight. I do feel Josh Taylor was the better man that night. And, as for what's next for him, I think he could still, fight the best at 140. I would still love to see him against Regis Prograis, or as my boy Errol Spence calls him, Regis Progrerius. I would love to see Ramirez come back, and I do feel like it was a competitive fight. But like as he mentioned, Josh Taylor has options now. Josh Taylor has options to fight, either defend his titles at 140, keep defending them, maybe wait for Teofimo to come up to challenge Teofimo. But Josh Taylor, post-fight, actually expressed interest in having, a mega fight with Bud Crawford, right? Whether that would be right away, or maybe dip his feet into the welterweight division before taking on someone like Bud. We'll see, maybe in a couple of months, we'll see what Josh Taylor and both Ramirez want to do next with their career. Regis went online and was demanding a rematch. Bud said that he knew that Josh Taylor would win. So did Teofimo. So either fight would be amazing. And let's be honest, who else is Bud Crawford going to fight now that, Spence is fighting Manny Pacquiao? And of course, we see that the PBC with Top Rank shit just isn't happening. So it depends, right? It depends let me know, who do you want to see against Josh Taylor next? Who do you want to see Ramirez come back from this loss against? Do you think John Cepeda deserves another chance at a title given this last performance? Do you feel like Josh Taylor should wait for Teofimo, or just immediately move up and challenge Bud? And how would you see both of those fights turning out? Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you mad at Kenny Bayless? Do you feel like he should have done better, at separating the fighters? Let me know in the comments, and I hope you enjoyed this small recap. Have a good week, y'all.